Step right up. I say. Step right up to overcome your shyness. And I'll have you calling me your highness. Step right up. Step right. Oh! Well, salutations, you sweethearted thing. I had a good feeling there'd be a soul like no other rounding my corner, and what do you know? I was right. I mean, course I was right. I know everything that happens around these parts. You don't exactly operate in a town as close and cozy as this one without, how you say, keeping an ear to the ground, but all three eyes open. Well, I'm not surprised you don't believe me per se, but rather disappointed. I had such high hopes for you, and I don't appreciate being mocked. You ain't the worst of the bunch I've gotten to know, but you certainly ain't the best. Of course, I'd consider it something of a godsend that you haven't started screaming at me yet, so I'd say the bar is, well, you'd be in limbo playing limbo if you try to go lower than low. Oh, the usual things you'd shout at your average Samaritan. Con man, thief, hypocrite. I had a local magazine even say that oh, sorry. Pardon me a tick. That I built a little empire this side of Concord and Maple out of some crazy garbage called the blood of the exploited working class. Sick and wounded at a particular sinister sort of junction of the era where hope is a length of rope and God expects you to hang yourself with it. Now, of course, I hung on to it. It's not every day that you get the attention of a magazine, even if it's only for the county's interesting individuals blurb as opposed to the 2-page spread that gave this, teen artist in the same issue. It was for, being the only participant in a high school poetry competition. You know, in an area with 6 participating high schools, but at the end of the article, they said that I look like Jesus. So they say. Well, I don't see why context would be really that important. I mean, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And when Mr. Jesus happens to have been crucified by the Romans and has consequently gone very, very far away, why not simply do as Mr. Jesus does? You see, you scamp, I'm not just your average Samaritan. In fact, I'd call myself your above-average Samaritan, but I live to serve all as a humble member of the community. I suppose some would call me a faith healer, but I found prophet to be a more accurate description. I mean, do I cure people with the power of prayer and belief and money and acupuncture and aromatherapy and moolah and hypnotherapy and conjuring and a complete and utter devotion to God? Yes. Would that typically define me as an individual, as a faith healer? A faith-based healer? Yes, but faith healer in the face of what it means to be a prophet sent by God. Don't. That was an accident. Look. I can literally feel the static charges in the air. The stray electricity that chases down the wires of those branchless trees. The vibrations of a radio signal. The tiny, wordless screaming of 100 million little devices running themselves into itty-bitty little meltdowns. It whispers. It screams. It's laughter. It's song. It's the voice of every little living thing and every unliving thing, because even gasoline was once a dinosaur and we were all stardust before we even were angels once. And the voice of heaven and earth itself inside my ears, even as the devil sobs when an angel weeps, and every rainstorm is a poem that you can barely get to hear, and a world screams, "Kiss me, Son of God!" And you have to remind them that you're no son at all. But you'll do what you can. When you can. The best you can. And that's what it means to me to be a prophet. A humble servant bringing far more to the potluck than might meet the eye, sure, but just another plate to bring to the table. For real and for true. And yet, when I tell some such an idea that proposes that every creature from the smallest gnat to the largest whale will hold chorus in God's choir, what do they say? That I destroy the bond of friendship and respect between the only people left who'd even look me in the eye? Oh, wait, no, hold on. I think that was my mother's postcard. She made it all the way to Fresno last year, and oh, she wrote love. Isn't she just a sweetheart? I swear, she has that brimstone and fire temper to her, but sometimes she's just so sweet. I swear, I could eat her up with a spoon! Still, not quite the sentiment, is it? Okay, well, I know you understand. I know you. I know the literal electrical impulses of your body. I just think that you want to be a contrarian. Here it is. Oh, well, this isn't right. This just says I laugh and make a fortune off the same ones that I tortured. Weird thing to say to another person, but hey, that's what happens when you try to be nice nowadays. You tell someone you know that their soul is beautiful and kind, and that the toxins of the world are eating away at the person they could be, with the full intent of leaving a husk in its wake, and they tell you to kill yourself and stop huffing paint thinner. So sad. They don't even remember that they're dying. Can you believe it? I know you do. I know you. I knew you before I even met you. It's just another voice in the strange song of life. And I feel like I know you more and more. Please. It'd be criminal to not let me heal you. This isn't even how life is supposed to be, and you don't even know all the splendors that could be in store for you if you just open your heart to the love of something more than you. Far more than you could ever be alone. That's for certain. Sometimes people are just afraid of that. Afraid of losing themselves to something bigger than they ever could be. As if they aren't already afraid of themselves. Afraid of who they are. Afraid of just what could be inside them and waiting to get out. just afraid. And then they see me outside my tent and figure that on top of everything else, I'm here to fill them with that fear of God too. And frankly, it's pointless to tell them that I'm not anymore. It's never what they want to hear. That their irrationality is closing them off to a better life, but they'd probably call me just as irrational for it. In fact, they have. Openly. But I live to serve. And I would be honored to serve you. The best times to rid yourself of the plagues of the modern world would have been yesterday. But sometimes, you only have today. Why don't you step into my tent? After all, now you're the only one left who can tell me if it's true. Isn't it obvious that you love me? And I love me. What? If you just overcame your shyness, I'm sure I could get you calling me your highness. I'm just the type. It's my destiny.